I'm Cindy Brown, and let's queer up the USA view. GOP biological women rule puts Smithsonian's Women's Museum bill at risk. A push by House Republicans to limit recognition to biological women in the planned Smithsonian American Women's History Museum might derail bipartisan backing for the project. A coalition for Democratic lawmakers is urging House Speaker Mike Johnson not to bring the amended version of H.R. 1329, the Smithsonian American's Women's History Museum Act, to the floor. The original bill introduced last year had strong bipartisan support, with 127 Democrats and 103 Republicans co-sponsoring it. However, a revised version introduced in March by Republicans on the Committee on House Administration adds language stating only biological women may be featured. In an April 16th letter signed by 146 Democrats, lawmakers warned the change, quote, grants President Donald Trump authority to unilaterally select the Women's Museum site, hands control over design and construction to boards stacked with Trump's political loyalists, and dictates what the museum can and cannot say about women's history, end quote. The amendment follows a previous executive order directing officials to remove improper ideology from Smithsonian institutions. Lawmakers warn the sudden decision to fundamentally rewrite the bill undermines years of bipartisan work and could cost Democratic support altogether. And this move is just added to the Trump administration's efforts to whitewash the Smithsonian, not talk about the racial history in this country, even to the point of the Tuskegee Airmen, who were an amazing squad
from Alabama.
Of black fighters. And history is history. And just because you don't want something in the Smithsonian doesn't mean it's not history. So all I can say is, if this happens, it will be overturned. And then the appropriate history will be, acknowledged in this amazing institution. I just keep thinking, these kind of things are temporary. Other things are more permanent that are hurting our country, but this kind of thing is temporary and can be reversed, just like the Trump Kennedy Center. Well, that's going to be reversed quickly.
I really take your point. As a history teacher myself, and as a person who trains on my days off when I don't have to, I go on field trips to battle sites. I'm in grant programs. I have the bona fides to talk about, maybe not necessarily on the air, but definitely I think about history a lot. And the way that there's actually a discipline of history. We don't just read history. We don't just interpret history. We actually do the discipline of history. So I like what you say, that this will be overturned. The way that we are telling the story now is such that certain groups of individuals that identify as women are going to be excluded. But the story is always changing. The way that the interpretive lenses that we use to tell stories are always being reconstructed. They're always being reinterpreted. And the way that we understand the world around us, even, for instance, something as maybe seemingly unrelated as the Renaissance, we are constantly reinterpreting the Renaissance. When we watch something that takes place on, on Netflix, if it takes place in a certain time period, we are actually creating history because we're not seeing it.
It's filtered
We're filtering it through our
2026
current lens.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
So when people look back in 100 years, they're going to say in that Trumpian period, this was how history was being told.
And destroyed.
But not destroyed necessarily. It's, I mean, destroyed in our current local minute, but
erased
in this moment.
Yes.
But there are memory keepers. I know that sounds very mystical.
If any Democrats actually think that that stupid fucking born-again bastard and rumored closet case Miss Mike Johnson will do a single thing they urge him to do, maybe they're on the wrong line of work.
He'll pray for you.
Don't pray for me.
A blessing is that we have educators and citizens that keep these stories alive and preserve these stories and share these stories and pass them forward so that we don't lose them.
Amen.
So,
Amen. I think that's a great point. And, you know, we just have to continue holding on to these stories because just because the way that we're telling the stories now are not going to be the way that we tell the stories in the future. It might get even worse. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything, but I'm letting you know, dear viewer, I feel like dear Abby, dear viewer, I'm letting you guys know that things are always changing and history is not a set point. The way that we understand history, the way that we understand our own lives is always changing. In light of new events, we're able to recategorize and reframe things, and we're going to be able to say that was when democracy was on the rails, and our history, the way we were telling history at that point in our United States journey was not how it is now. Let's say 50 years, 100 years into the future.
History is history.
Right.
And you can't change history.
Right.
You might tell a different story, but
so then what's the difference? So if you say if you say history is history, well then what exactly? And this isn't to get into
you can't change history.
Okay,
you can tell lies about what happened.
Absolutely.
And that's what's happening.
Yes. Yes.
History, what happened is history. That's history. What people say about it is not history if it's not true. So, you know, we'll get it back.
Point taken. There's a lot to unravel there that we don't have time in the short form for.
Right.
And we'll talk off camera because I got a lot to say to you. No, I'm just joking.
Okay, there's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.